All right, guys, it is time for a special edition of Conversations with Commodores. Although it's Thursday night, we're at week 0. We got 2 more days before we kick off against Hawaii at home. We've got Juan Epps, Executive Director with the Anchor Impact Fund, and I've wanted to have him on for several months, but now is the right time. Now is the right place. We're going to get into this. We're going to get some great answers. He's going to tell us what's going on. Dwan, thank you for making some time tonight. I'm excited for our conversation.
No, Bernard, thank you for having us, and always a pleasure to be able to talk about NIL and how it impacts Vanderbilt student athletes. That's our passions, and that's why we're here. So thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. And it is, we've got so many alums out there who aren't quite in the game, so to speak, hadn't reached out to you guys, haven't contributed, haven't done anything because they're just not quite sure of how all this works. And this is such a new endeavor, even though we've been talking about NIL and we've heard a lot about the Anchor Impact Fund in the last several months. I want you to kind of just, in its very briefest, what is NIL today? And I realize that could change 6 months from now, but what is NIL? And then take us into the Anchor Impact Fund and how it's benefiting our student athletes.
No, in general, I think the concept of NIL has never changed. I think the way people approach it and their thought patterns around NIL is the thing that's ever evolving. So from that standpoint, name, image, likeness, we all know 2021 forever changed college landscape. And that's creating opportunity for our student athletes specifically to be able to monetize off of their name, image, likeness, their platforms. And so that is the consistency of what name, image, and likeness is. Now you have the evolution of it from 2021 now to mid-year 2023, where you see collectives and companies and organizations popping up everywhere to help student athletes with this new opportunity, whether it be from an educational standpoint or a resource standpoint, economically. I think everyone is trying to figure out how they can support student athletes in this endeavor, and that's where we are. So we are the exclusive collective of Vanderbilt Athletics. And we're creating opportunities specific to our Commodore student athletes, and we're unique in this space where we're not only creating opportunity for them, but we're trying to, through their efforts, create a meaningful impact for our local community through charitable organizations. So we truly believe this is a win-win for all parties involved: our student athletes, the local Nashville community, Vanderbilt Athletics, and our fan base and our donor base. So we're really excited to be able to be a small part of their NIL journey. But at the same time, we want to continue to evolve our model and create even more opportunity for more student athletes at Vanderbilt.
Well, it really is an exciting time to be a college athlete. It's a exciting time to be a Vanderbilt fan and supporter. And Dwan, I want you to kind of give us a couple of examples about how my money or anybody who donates, how does that money actually work? Let's say I send in $250 a month. How does that money go towards supporting our student athletes?
Yeah, NIL is really meant for the student athlete to be able to monetize off of their name, image, likeness. And so that's what we're here to do. We're here to steward those resources that our donors contribute to our fund and then pay those immediately out to our student athletes over course of time, whether we have different agreements with our student athletes. So their services that they do, and then we are able to compensate them based on the donor dollars. So your resources, for your example, that monthly donation is something that is very important to us because it's a cash flow, cash generated opportunity for our student athletes, whereas other opportunities through scholarships and endowing scholarships, I should say, and facilities through the university, those are different ways to impact student athletes. But these dollars are going directly to the student athlete. And without donors, none of this is possible. We have an opportunity right now to impact all 350 plus Vanderbilt student athletes. And I was once employed by Vanderbilt, and I really value Candace and the athletic department and Chancellor Dearmeyer. And they're doing a great job. And this is just another opportunity for us to be an extension of all the many things they're doing to continue to be a top program in the country from an athletic standpoint. So those donor dollars are really impacting our student athletes in a different way.
You brought up a really good point when you mentioned Candace and Chancellor Dearmeyer. Is it true that there really is, this is my term, a Chinese firewall, if you will, between the collective, the Anchor Impact Fund, and the university, meaning that the university does not control or employ or decide how the money is spent? Isn't that part of the, I don't know if it's the NCAA regulations, or maybe you can dive into that just a little bit to explain the difference or how the dynamics work.
Yeah, I think any good organization, there's partnerships, and that's no exception here. We partner with the university to understand priorities and how they see their student athletes being impacted from name, image, likeness. So we have a really good relationship with the athletics department and university as a whole to ensure that we're again, this is an extension of their academic opportunities and athletic opportunities they have at Vanderbilt. So there are regulations in place, state regulations, NCAA regulations in place to ensure that the university is not the one facilitating these opportunities. So that's why you see these collectives, trusted collectives in particular, in place, because these collectives, for instance, Anchor Impact Fund, we have the understanding and the vision that the university has and the athletic department has, and we wholeheartedly understand that. And so we're trying our very best to execute on that from a name, image, likeness standpoint. So although university and Candace and our coaches can't facilitate these opportunities, we're working closely to understand their priorities, and we're doing our very best to create those opportunities for our student athletes from a broad standpoint, not just your footballs, your basketballs, and your baseballs of the world. We're trying to create opportunities for every program at Vanderbilt.
And that's, you said, over 350 student athletes right now?
Absolutely, and more to come. I will say volleyball is going to add probably about 15, 20 more, so we can't forget about them.
Yeah, and that's less than 2 years away from now.
Absolutely.
What about those conversations that you're having? Are you meeting with, I don't know if you call them donors or supporters, I don't know the proper term, but are you having in person? Are you having Zoom? Are you having, to explain if I'm someone, whether I'm a former player or just a grad, or I just want to support the program, talk about those conversations. Are those happening quite often?
Yeah, very frequently. Again, without our donors and our supporters, none of this is possible. And so through your examples, we are tapping into individual one-on-one meetings, small group meetings, informational sessions, which we've done some locally. We've done some out of state. Even was a part of the caravans that the athletics department put on. So those are critical opportunities for us to reach a different demographic than just someone who is in Nashville or
Right.
someone that is consistently seeing what is happening within the department. So we're doing the individual meetings, small groups, as well as opportunities like this where from a technology standpoint, it's our friend. I think COVID has all taught us that, to use technology to your advantage. So we're really tapping into all of our donor pools and alumni networks in different ways. And I think we have room to grow, just to be transparent. I think we have opportunities to tap into alumni databases and our fan base a little bit more. So you'll start to see that happening this fall through various channels. And so we're excited to tap into the fan base, because we all know, Bernard, you're an alumni, but we know our fan base is far and near. So we have to be able to really do our part in communicating what's the opportunities we have before them and how they can engage with us.
And if, let's say I'm coming up for a home game in this season, but I want to meet with you or Alan or somebody with the fund, how do we go about communicating or getting in touch with you guys? I know the website would be one way, but is there a physical presence, or do you guys set your meetings at different locations? What do you suggest if I want to have one of those meetings, let's say Friday afternoon or Saturday morning before a game? Are y'all amenable to do something like that?
Yeah, when people come into town, that's a great time for us to engage with them because we know their schedules are very, very tight. And so when they're here, we want to take every opportunity to get in front of them, explain what we're doing, invite them to engage in what we're doing. And so obviously my background is fundraising, specifically for Vanderbilt, previous to this role. So I have a good opportunity to engage with that donor base previously. But in this case, like you said, our website, anchorimpactfund.org, my email address, happy to share that, depps at anchorimpactfund.org. And I'll share all my contact information with you, Bernard, for you to share publicly on your platforms. But I would love for donors, alumni, fans who want to learn more to engage with us. And we're again growing in our communication efforts. So around football season, basketball season, baseball season, and all our other sports, we're going to try to create opportunities to be out there at those competitions, creating opportunities for whether it be tailgates, pre-game stuff, post-game stuff, where we can engage the fan base a little bit more. So more to come there for sure. And like I said, this fall, we're really looking to ramp up our communication efforts more broadly, as well as I know Vanderbilt, we've been in conversation with them around those things to help fans and our donors understand the opportunity we have.
Talk a little bit about, if I want to make donations, can I designate which sport that the funds are supporting?
Absolutely. Every probably donor is used to designations and nothing is different for us. So a donor can designate to a specific sport, or they can give to our general fund where we allocate those resources appropriately to various student athletes in sports. So in short, absolutely. And we have an opportunity on our website to check those boxes, whether it's one or many. We want to create this to be an opportunity for our donors to express their interest.
And I've put in the show notes the link to the website. I put your cell phone number and your email address, so people have no excuse that they can't find you. Can I be as specific to designate which particular athlete, student athlete, that I want the money to go to? Can it be that particular?
Generally, we try to shy away from that, because we want to ensure that this is equitable. And so we want to create opportunity more broadly across different sports. But at the same time, for us, we would love to better understand the donor intent with that. So open to having a conversation and figuring out what the intent is with that. But I'm not one to just say no right off the bat. But I think that would take us to a deeper conversation around the intent of that gift. But again, this is about creating opportunity more broadly. But at the same time, we know there is priorities for donors, and we want to support that as well.
Well, I know it could also be a slippery slope, that if folks go around the collectives and try to do direct with the student athletes, there still may be some rules that we don't want to violate. And I'm certainly not advocating for that. I'm just getting more of a better broad picture. Let me ask you, oh gosh, it just slipped out of my head.
Well, while you think of that question, if I can add to that a little bit.
Yeah.
And yes, the collective is here to be an opportunity for one to engage in NIL, but I want to be very clear. We're not the exclusive opportunity for student athletes. Student athletes can go out and participate in anything else they would like their brands to be associated with. So although we're a big piece of that in their NIL journey, and we're a competitive collective and across the nation, these student athletes have plenty of opportunity to really capitalize on the opportunity that they have in front of them. But through the Anchor Impact Fund, we believe that we're a great resource for them. A lot of student athletes have not been able to capitalize on opportunities outside of us, so we're really their first opportunity. So it's educational. We don't look at this as just us finding an athlete, paying them dollars to do services. We want to be along and walk alongside of them in this journey. So whether it be education that we're providing them around financial literacy, or helping them better understand the NIL landscape, we're here for them. But to be very clear, this is one opportunity that they have amongst many as they associate their brands. And I know some of our student athletes have great support systems around them to help them with that. But again, we're here to support our student athletes.
I remember what it was, and we got 2 questions that have just come in.
All right.
The first question is, can you explain the impact, if at all? That's not the right word. Can you explain the connection, the relationship, if there is one, that the Anchor Impact Fund and NIL has on recruiting? Because I know there's a difference between an enrolled student athlete versus someone who's not yet enrolled. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I think NIL has a big piece of recruiting as well as retention. The more we're able to do, the more prospective student athletes see the opportunities that they have before them as they evaluate Vanderbilt and other schools that are on their list. We're not in the game of having a conversation with the recruit, making promises and things like that. What we're about is creating opportunity for the kids that have chosen Vanderbilt, and as recruits or prospective student athletes, transfers as well, see the opportunities that we're presenting for our current student athletes. I think that speaks volumes to them. I think just like with the university and the hard task that our coaches have of recruiting nationally, it's about education. So our coaches can speak to this as they're having conversations with recruits and prospective student athletes. But we're as the collective, we're not engaging with anyone until they're here on campus and enrolled at Vanderbilt. And so that's how we're going to continue to be compliant in everything that we do, because we never want to jeopardize student athletes' eligibility nor the department's opportunities that they have.
No, and thank you for explaining that, because there's certainly a fine line in there. The other question was, with individual donations, what percentage of the money goes toward administrative costs versus what percentage, almost like nonprofit question, what percentage actually goes into the student athletes funds, if you will? What percentage of donations of each donation goes?
And how we communicate that, for us, we're very fortunate to have donors who have contributed in a significant way to really help us with operational costs. And so our intent with every donation is to give well above what you may consider the national average. And I've heard things from 90% to 85%. And so for us, we're able to keep those margins down due to the initial contributions and the seed capital that donors contribute to what we're doing. So from a donor standpoint, we want to ensure that you understand that your dollars and your donations are going directly to the student athletes, because of the generosity that was before specific donors. And so we're in this again for the student athletes and helping them engage in NIL and want them to be able to maximize that opportunity through donor dollars.
Guys, I've got Dwan Epps, who's executive director of the Anchor Impact Fund, and he's just given us the FAQs. He's telling it how it is, how this collective works and how it's benefiting our student athletes. And we've got just a couple more minutes, and I appreciate your time and sharing all of this tonight. What excites you about the Anchor Impact Fund, and what can we look forward to, or can you give us a little preview of things that are on the horizon?
Yeah, what excites me is I get to wake up every morning and continue to serve our student athletes. Like I said, previous 4 years before taking this role in November, I had that opportunity, and it was important for me and my family to continue in this space of impacting Vanderbilt student athletes. So that's what continues gets me excited. And knowing that these student athletes have a unique opportunity before them, not to just do this for themselves, but to do it for the community and the people around them, and by engaging in the charitable opportunities, whether it be from a social media standpoint, in-person appearances. This is important to our student athletes. And as we do more for them, I know they're extremely grateful. And so that's what also gets me excited, because I know our student athletes have a posture of gratitude. They don't have a posture of, oh, you owe me this. They have a posture of, oh, I get to serve our local community, at the same time create an opportunity for myself. And that's one thing. Vanderbilt student athletes are unique, and they have a great opportunity before them. and whether it be their academic opportunities, their athletic opportunities, and now these opportunities to be engaged. And then the other thing that gets me excited is I'm one who likes to be in spaces that are continuing to evolve. And so as the times continue to change and things continue to shift in this space, we're going to continue to evolve to create more opportunity for our student athletes. And so with that, we're looking at creating opportunities here in short order around the commercial side of name, image, likeness. Really, Anchor Impact Fund has done an extremely good job of engaging our student athletes here in this short period of time of 6 months that we launched, but we know we have to continue to evolve. And so from a commercial side, from brands, businesses, and content, we're looking to launch that here in short order and to create more opportunity for our student athletes. So more to come there. Don't want to let the cat out the bag too much, but just know
But we're not going to be breaking any news tonight.
Not tonight.
Well, we're going to have you back on when it is.
Sure. For sure. Happy to do that. But just know that as you engage in what we're doing, it's creating significant impact in our community as well as with our student athletes. And I think everyone sees the trajectory of Vanderbilt athletics from Vandy United to national championships that have happened here recently as well as in the past. And I just think that continues to be the trend that we're headed upward, have an upward trajectory. And so why not think that NIL can't be in that same trending opportunity in the upward trajectory?
There is not a better time in my lifetime, and I've been rooting or part of the program since the mid 80s. There's not a better time to get on board to support the program or whatever program with student athletes who have your interest with Vanderbilt University. And Dwan, I applaud what you and Alan are doing. I want you to keep that momentum going. You're welcome back here on the show anytime, particularly if we're going to break some news coming up. But thank you for sharing all of that. Like I said, I put the link to the website. I put your contact information in there. And I truly hope that more and more folks are going to find you and support these student athletes.
Absolutely. And we're going to make ourselves even more available again through our communication channels, through different platforms. We're going to continue to ensure that we're reaching the masses and being as educational as possible around the opportunities that supporters and fans have to support our student athletes. And really, Bernard, the last thing I'll share, unless you have other questions, I'm happy to answer other questions, but I would love to share with our supporters and donors, the time is now to support. We're actively engaging over 40 student athletes in what we're doing, have them signed and contributing in a significant way in our community. And we want to sign more. And the only way to do that is for our donors and supporters and fans to engage in what we're doing. We're going to create even more opportunity for our student athletes that even creates more opportunity for our programs. And so as our programs continue to be successful, we have to make sure that we're retaining at a high level and our coaches are equipped to recruit at a high level. And so through NIL is one of the many ways. I don't want to shortchange anything that the universities are doing, but NIL is an integral part of the success of our program. So just wanted to share that nugget and help everyone understand the importance of this.
All I can say is anchor down.
I love your energy.
Thank you. Hang on just a second. Guys, this is why I do this show every week. We're telling the oral history of the football program, but we're also bringing folks from the Ingram Center, from Anchor Impact Fund. We're sharing with you what all of our student athletes, particularly with football, of course, that's our focus here, about all of these things that are available to these fine student athletes. And like we had Ethan Barr on here a few weeks ago. He's a two-time captain. He'll be a captain Saturday, that's for sure.
Who we just signed as well today.
That's right. And 6:30 kickoff, week 0 against Hawaii. Again, Dwan, thank you very much for sharing what you do. Your passion is right there. And I know you love Vanderbilt and the student athletes, and just keep that momentum going.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Bernard. And like you said, week 0 is here and we're excited to kick it off Saturday, and we'll be right there with everyone else cheering our Commodores on.
Excellent. You guys have a good night. Hold on, Dwan.